Congratulations for starting your orthodontic treatment here at Austin Orthodontic Arts. I'd like to start with going over a few foods to avoid with you. First things, you want to avoid anything really hard, sticky, and chewy. So very hard breads like bagels, French bread, really burnt pizza crust. You're going to want to avoid harder objects like that and just, take out the soft white middle of the French bread or go for just soft white breads in general. Harder snacks like pretzels, nuts, tortilla chips, Takis. You want to go for softer options, of course, so like a Lay's potato chip will be softer than a tortilla chip. Chopped up peanuts, slivered almonds instead of whole nuts, and also avoiding pretzels and Chex Mix and going more for cracker snacks. Goldfish, Cheez-Its, good stuff like that. What's going to happen if you bite into things that hard is that the bracket can become no longer attached to the tooth, and we call that a loose or a broken bracket. So you'll see here that bracket is no longer on the tooth. He's just kind of doing flips and spins, and once the bracket's no longer on the tooth, that tooth is not being straightened. So we do have appointments available every day to fix brackets. Give us a call if you ever notice anything's loose or broken, and we can repair that for you as fast as possible for us. Sometimes you may also have orthodontic bands in your treatment, just depends case to case, but these, same concept. If they ever come loose, wiggly, anything of the sort, give us a call and we can fix that for you. Harder candies, mints, caramel, Laffy Taffy, Now and Later, Skittles, Starburst, gummy bears, gummy worms, Sour Patch Kids. These are all objects that you really can't modify the way you eat, you just have to cut them out of your diet for now. Harder objects like chewing on ice. It's going to be not only bad for braces and breakage, but it can chip your enamel as well, so avoid that. Raw fruits and veggies, again, just really too hard to bite into them with your front teeth. So cut everything up, small bite-sized pieces, chew it all the way in the back, and just kind of take your time. There's no rush. You also want to avoid random objects, pen caps, erasers, chewing on your fingernails, biting on straws in your cups, anything that you can chew on, you want to make sure it's just food. Also, any types of meats that you're eating, do your best to go boneless. Sometimes that's not an option. Get a knife and a fork, just cut all the meat off the bone, chew in the back, take your time. Again, we just don't want you to accidentally bite into a bone with your front teeth. We also want you to avoid popcorn. It has really big kernels in the middle, can cause breakage, and then that shell around the kernel can get stuck underneath the gum tissue and can actually lead to infection. So just be very, very careful of that. Brushing with the braces is going to be extremely important to ensure you keep a healthy smile. So most of this is going to count on technique and angles now. You're still going to brush with whatever toothbrush you choose, flat against your teeth, circular motions all the way across that arch. Having the brackets on all these teeth is going to prevent you from getting the other areas, so you need to add extra angles. Turning that toothbrush a 45-degree angle underneath the bracket, brushing the bracket and the tooth, and then above, brushing the bracket, tooth, and the gum area. Brushing your gum line is going to make sure everything stays nice and healthy. And then you want to make sure you're paying attention to the rest of the surfaces. The biting surface, where you chew your food, and then also angling your toothbrush so that you can brush the inside surface where your tongue touches. Also very important, some people forget, brush the roof of your mouth and brush your tongue as well. This will cut back on a bad breath as well. So you'll see if you use a soft toothbrush with your braces and you angle it at a 45-degree angle underneath that bracket, and you squish those bristles underneath at this angle, they'll actually go through that wire and they'll come out the other side. So if you do it from above, same thing, you are getting all that surface area. There's no chance any plaque could be left behind. So the first couple of times you brush with braces, you might miss a couple of spots, which is completely normal. It's new to you, you're just kind of working out this technique. So we do offer another tool in your kit called an interproximal brush. This small little scrubby brush fits perfectly underneath that wire, and you can get that brush hugged up very tight to the bracket and get all those edges, assuming maybe you didn't hit those angles perfectly. There is also a wire running through this little scrubby brush, so you can actually bend it in the shape of a hook and actually hook around the bracket as well. Just an extra helper to keep in your pocket. When I had braces myself, I had one on me all the time. You go out to eat, you can just get all that food out real quick and then swish at the sink, and it's good enough as a brush when you're in a pinch. You have another type of pick in your kit. This one is called a soft pick, and this is a great alternative to a toothpick, which can honestly be just a little bit too sharp and a little bit too rough on you when you're having your braces. I've even seen a toothpick get stuck inside a bracket, not good. So with these, they're just a lot more flexible. As you can see, they bend a little bit, and then they have little bristles on the side to help get it a little bit cleaner as well. So just a really good tool to have. So there's gonna be a time where your braces become a little bit uncomfortable to your soft tissue. This usually happens within the first week, as your mouth isn't used to having all this metal in there. So what's gonna happen is you might experience a small sore on the inside of your lip, completely natural. What you're gonna wanna do is locate whatever bracket is rubbing in that one area and get out your orthodontic wax. So this stuff, 100% non-toxic. All you have to do is pinch off a little piece like they did, roll it in your fingertips for 10 seconds just to kind of heat up that wax. Apply it over the bracket, pinch around those corners, and it'll stay there for a few hours. This is really just to give you a little bit of relief as you are going throughout your day. You don't want it to constantly be scratching in that one spot, as it can get worse. So this is a great tool if maybe you're playing band, an instrument, you're singing in choir, something where it requires a lot of lip. Put this on beforehand and it'll help not get it so irritated also. If you want to remove the wax, it comes off very easy. Use your finger and peel it off like a sticker, or you can just brush it off with your toothbrush. I do recommend whenever you need more wax, get a fresh piece every single time. If it falls off, it's just very difficult to get it restuck. So with brushing, we do offer you in your kit a full-size toothbrush, and you're going to get a travel-size toothbrush as well. This little guy here is a 3-minute timer. You want to make sure with the braces, at least the first couple of times, dedicate yourself to doing that full 3 minutes as you're learning all those angles. We'll get into flossing in a minute, but with that, I recommend like 5 minutes to get a really good clean. So there's 2 methods of flossing with braces. One method is with regular standard floss, and you have a little helper to get the floss underneath the wire. Other method is a little bit easier, and I'll show you that as well. First, you'll want to get a nice, decent-sized piece of floss. Then you'll want to grab your floss threaders. These guys are going to help you get the floss underneath the wire a little bit more easier. Very small eye hole on the end of this threader, and you will thread your floss through and tie a little knot. So as you'll see, I left a little extra hanging off the end, and that's totally fine. It's not going to get in the way. And then what you'll do is use this blue threader to go underneath that wire, thread it through just partially, and then you're actually able to floss in that one spot. You are cleared from that wire. After that, you will just slowly unthread that floss and repeat the step for every tooth on top and bottom until you're finished. I understand it can take a bit of time to do this, but flossing is extremely important with braces. So we do offer a little bit of an easier method. These are called platypus flossers. These are my favorite things in the world because it actually will cut your time with flossing in half, maybe even more if you've become really skilled with them. So we'll open this guy up. You have to floss with these in a very specific way for them to be effective. So you'll see there's a kind of a wider side of the flosser on the left, and then on my right there is a skinnier, kind of more curved area. So you'll want to use that curved spot to go behind the wire. Flat, up against that tooth, and then slide behind the wire. And basically, that little flosser just bypasses the wire, kind of fits right under there, and it's almost like you're flossing without even having to thread or maneuver or do anything special at all. And on the end, you do have an extra tip if you needed to clean anything out of your braces. They do not sell these at grocery stores yet, so refills are best gotten through our Salome store, which is up front. They have them through Amazon, and there's a website printed on this bag as well. Brushing with braces is going to be extremely important. If you're not thoroughly removing all of the bacteria from your gum line, what's going to happen is your gum tissue can get very swollen, very red, and very irritated. This is called gingivitis. And when this happens with braces, that gum tissue gets puffier and puffier and can actually grow down around those braces. All this does is it extends your treatment time. It makes your adjustments a little bit more difficult and a little bit more painful. So best practice is to brush thoroughly, double check yourself in the mirror. If there's any plaque left behind, you'll see it around those brackets. It kind of looks a little bit like furry or almost like cottage cheese. Brush again, second time if you don't see all of that gone, sometimes even a third, that's okay. We also offer a special toothpaste in our front office for sale, which will actually illuminate all that plaque and it turns it like a seafoam green. So you're able to kind of brush until all of that's gone. We have a pamphlet that we're sending home with you, and on the back you will see what happens if you're not brushing that properly. Plaque is a very acidic substance. So when plaque sits on your pretty tooth surface for too long, several days without brushing properly, that high acidity of that plaque leaches out the calcium from the tooth surface. Ultimately, what you're left with is a permanent scar where that plaque was left for an extended period of time. You can't whiten it away, you can't brush it away. There's really no reverse button on this one, so you want to make sure that you're doing a really good job brushing, and we're going to keep up with you through this whole process. Every appointment you see with us, your hygiene will be graded, and if you need help, we're here, all right? We are here to show you all the best methods and practices to have a beautiful and healthy smile.